In some parts of the world, our brothers and sisters endure discrimination every day. That was the case in South Africa during apartheid. The word apartheid means separateness and was a political policy that was implemented in the country in 1948. By means of that policy, the government enforced strict separation of various racial groups. For example, public facilities such as banks and post offices had separate sections for whites and non-whites. But restaurants and cinemas were reserved for whites only. This continued until the apartheid policy was dismantled in 1994. But how can someone who was heavily involved in the separation of races be drawn to a God that is not partial? We met two of our brothers in South Africa with just such a background.
I was a leader in a far-right organization that actively supported apartheid in the 1980s. We were on holiday at the sea, and there were only black lifeguards. I said to my friends with me that I would rather drown before I would allow a black man to rescue me in the sea. The second day we were there, the current pulled me out to sea, and the harder I tried to come out, the deeper the sea pulled me in. The next moment I see this black man coming towards me, and I grab him around the neck and I almost wanted to kiss him. That is how glad I was to see him, because I was drowning. I was totally exhausted. I could not go on. Even though a black man saved my life, it did not change my attitude towards them.
I wanted to see South African society or community as non-racial, non-sexist, democratic society. Before I was 21 years old, already I get involved in political education, and I became a chairman of mass democratic movement. For the first time, South Africans were supposed to be educated on election. We found that Jehovah's Witnesses, they also have a church in our community. We asked them that, can we come and teach the people how to elect in that part of the community? And we were told that this is a church that cannot allow us to teach people elections in their premises. The militant one, they wanted to go and ban the church. One day we were driving as a delegation. We were black and white in that vehicle, and we saw white witnesses were doing their public ministry. And this driver, who I know he was racist, he said to me, "Johnny, do you see those white people?" I said, "Yes." He said, "I hate those people." I said, "Why?" He said, "No, I hate these people." Then I said, "If they are hated by you, who is white? They must be good people."
Times started to change in the late 80s when they started to dismantle apartheid. But we aggressively tried to stop this from happening. We even drove an armored vehicle smashing through the doors into the parliament buildings. We were trying to see if we could resist these changes with apartheid, but this did not change things. Even though I belonged to a church, I still drank heavily and had extramarital affairs. This led to me and my wife getting divorced. It was an empty life. I was never really happy.
I was committed to this revolutionary cause. I will be absent, not at home, for a week. Meeting of politics is about argument. At political meetings, a lot of arguing take place. When you go home, you end up arguing with your wife over nothing. I came to another office and I saw in a desk of this colleague, there's a book called Knowledge that can lead to everlasting life. When I found in the book the reason why Jesus was on earth, especially to proclaim the kingdom, and this kingdom is a government, and I work for government, yet I have never heard about this government. Then I found out of the book, this is a real government that will come and solve all mankind problems. I felt home among Jehovah's people. I can feel genuine love, not just love that we have in the world or anywhere. Then I came. I never stopped attending meetings.
A friend of mine introduced me to the witnesses. One of the brothers I met asked me, if I prove from the Bible that something you believe is incorrect, what will you do? I said, then I will become a witness. He went on to show me in the Bible how the Bethlehem star was actually from the devil to lead the wise men to kill Jesus. This changed my whole life. I said, now I can become a witness. Being in the Kingdom Hall, I noticed that there were many black people. This was strange for me, but the more I attended, the more I began to learn that with Jehovah, there is no partiality. All people are equal. We began to accept that this is the way it should be. Johnny and I were brought together even though we were from completely different political parties. Before, we would have wanted to kill each other, but now we have love for one another. We have forgiven one another. Jehovah's organization changes a person completely. If I think back to the kind of person I was and what I am now, I never want to be what I was then. Never. It is such a privilege to be a witness. People call me a softie, but I do not mind. I have become a softie, but for Jehovah.
I never thought that somebody like Brother Gideon, who is coming from the extreme right organization, can worship with me, who is former extreme left organization. You can only think of Isaiah when he said, the wolf and the lion will eat a straw and the boy will play in the hole of a dangerous snake. So the transformation of our personality trait has led us to be genuine brothers.
The two brothers, Johnny and Gideon, serve in the same congregation in the northwest province of South Africa and regularly do public witnessing together. Old colleagues from their past careers in politics regularly come up to Johnny and Gideon to encourage them to pursue politics again. That has given the brothers many good opportunities to witness to them about our loving, non-partial God.